Good evening, guys. Sunday evening here, my side. It's probably very different from where you are, but let's dive in to gold. It had a very rough, very rough Friday, but we will look at it from a long-term perspective. Overall, I find gold really bullish. There's nothing to it here. Nothing goes in a straight line, but I think we have done all the breakouts. But let's see where we are. Again, if you like what you see here again, subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, and yes, also here, Substack. If you want more detailed analysis of different stocks, stock picks, entries, that's where it all happens. So with that out of the way, we need to look into gold. You can see here gold last Friday dipped below 2,300, had a minus 3.5% drop in a day. That's a very big drop when it comes to gold. But overall here, we will look at the weekly. You can see here we had the big tag of the big, all-time highs here. The fourth time we both we broke higher, and now we're basically going sideways. We are within a beautiful purple uptrend here. I have removed a lot of the charts for this video just to make it a bit more clear. We have this is the measured move, by the way, from this. Let me show you this inverted head and shoulders, and it targets roughly here 2,650 right there. It also coincides with a massive resistance from the 2080, 2012, and yes, right there. So this is the pure magnet, and that's where I think we will go before we have any, bigger pullbacks. Again, the third touch there, I do think we can have a hefty pullback here, and then we blast higher. This top here could, by the way, coincide with the market top and where we see the big collapse, but gold also obviously will be dragged down only to slingshot higher again. So long-term gold, guys, looks incredible. In the short term, don't expect too much of it. You can see here we have this Friday here, very nasty. I do think we can potentially see 2,200 and change here, but for now basically going sideways. So don't make much of it, guys. Here, look at the weekly. In my opinion, no lower than the weekly. So yeah, gold in relation to silver, the gold to silver ratio, which is, in my opinion, the most important chart, at least top 3 right now out there. And why is it important? Why am I so bullish on gold? Why am I so bullish on silver? This is the main reason. A huge triggering event, as the market sniper would say here. We broke down of a 3.5 roughly year grinding channel here, trend line down here. We broke down after we actually had a false breakout to the upside, where we actually looked really bullish here with this bullish consolidation, expecting a move higher, but we collapsed, retested the range, and then boop, we pooped big time down there. Again, what you're seeing now is basically a test here, and then we are probably going to test a trend line that I want to show you here on the log scale. You can add it to here, up to there, to the 2011 low, 20 low, and we are basically sitting right there at the trend line. If I marked them correctly, you can see we tagged it last week. So we could see the collapse again here. And that means that gold and silver is very due to go higher. Also, if we go to the regular scale here of this bad boy right here, you can also see that actually, if my memory serves me well, that this was a huge support in this ratio, but on the nominal scale. You can see the channel here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I think here will happen, we have 1, 2, we tagged it a third, and we will roll over and completely and utterly collapse in the ratio. That's my prediction long term. It looks incredible for gold and silver. Yes, we are pulling back now. In the grand scheme of things, who cares? It doesn't really matter. The big stuff happened when we broke above 2,075. That triple top, the fourth time we went through, blasted straight into, I think, 2,400 or so and change. A very very important ratio is the gold divided by the inflation. Why is that important? Well, people are speaking of that gold is an inflation hedge. And if you believe in that, and if you believe that technical analysis has some sort of merit to it, this is the chart to look at. Absolutely a killer chart. Won the 2080 high, 2011, 20, 2024. And this is the fourth time we're attacking that massive trend line. Also, you can see that the overall structure is also really good, like a cup and handle with yet another handle. Gold is going to outperform inflation by a huge margin for the next decade, at least. Again, if you want to do some measured moves on this here, again, I think inflation will go up. Overall, it will go up, but gold will outperform this by 500% based on this chart here. And yeah, that's truly, it's not amazing because the repercussions of this is not ideal, obviously. And that's why, in my opinion, you need gold and silver in your savings, in your investments. And if you can pick the right gold miners, silver miners, you will easily beat 500%. So when we break here, this is not good for, what can you say, the regular markets and the regular people when that happens. You will lose so much purchasing power. I think it's heavily underestimated how much purchasing power you will lose in the next 10 years. So take advantage of this, in my opinion. Again, this is purely my opinion, but I'm very confident that this is what we're going to see, that gold will outperform inflation. Inflation will remain high, gold will be higher. Yeah. This is gold divided by the SPX, looking back 20 years. You can see this, we had this huge move up here from the 2001 basically into 11 there. And then ever since we have formed this somewhat of a squeeze right here. You can see we're attacking it more and more and more. I think at some point in time we will break. And that's when the real deal sets in my opinion. Breaking of that wedge and get above roughly 0.5. When that happens, you can bet your bibbies that gold is going to see a big rotation coming in from the general markets, being the SPX, being the NASDAQ, the Russell, all that. People with bigger pockets than me are definitely looking at this and waiting to see when to deploy. Again, they will not fully rotate, obviously, but maybe they rotate like 5% into gold. And that's enough to push the entire gold market up multiples, many multiples. Gold divided by NASDAQ. Look at this beautiful trend here, by the way, trend channel here, going back to the 2000 low there, 2009, 11, and then we had, again, we are tagging here this beauty of a range. In my opinion, we are trying to put in a bottom here. I think the big confirmation comes in when we clear the 2018 low, and then we have these highs here. But again, we have broken the squeeze, excuse me, the wedge to the downside, and now we're probably going sideways, and then we will break out of this ratio here, in 2025. NASDAQ has been a massive outperformer. Basically, you can see here from the 2011 highs where gold peaked, the NASDAQ has outperformed 90%. 90%. That's amazing. Huge gains by the NASDAQ. But in my opinion, that's about to reverse to the upside here. Again, we're looking at the monthly, so don't expect it to turn overnight, right? These are monthly candles. They take time to mature. They take time to absorb, all the downward pressure that there is, yada yada. But in the long run here, I think gold will win. Gold divided by the Dixie. Why is that important? In my opinion, it's a very, very underlooked ratio. The reason is right now we actually have gold outperforming the dollar index, the DXY. So the dollar is strong. We have seen that the dollar is quite strong, but gold is stronger. So you actually have a case here where the dollar is somewhat strong, but gold is stronger, meaning a lot more people is actually going into gold compared to the dollar and bonds and all that. Huge breakout here in March 2024. Again, if you connect, this is the 11 high, 2020, almost tagged here, and then we broke. We have some smaller fractals also here with that inverted head and shoulders. Again, gold is outperforming the dollar. It's absolutely beautiful in my opinion here. We are going to at least the triangle high up here, which is the ratio 25.5. We are now at roughly 20, let's call it 22. So we have like 10, 15% in, more for gold to outperform the dollar before we see any major resistances. So yeah, fantastic here. Gold overall in world currency units. No lines on it here, but you can definitely see that ever since we kind of, broke this very clear trend line here, it has been up, more or less and away. Gold is just outperforming the broad currency baskets out there. Beautiful. Gold is doing fantastically well. The mainstream is by no means invested into gold and silver for that matter, platinum, but we're talking gold now, and I think that will change. I think that will change. Here we have gold measured by M2 money supply. Again, 2080 high, 11 high there. We haven't tagged it for the third time, but you can see we did take out this smaller internal squeeze fractal here. We broke out, we retested it, we resumed higher into this high over here, these highs coming in there. So the smaller time frame in quotes, these are monthly, but has broken here. And in my opinion, we're going to visit it for the third time here, getting a bit of a rejection, then we blast. So still early in relation to the M2 money supply. But again, I think this is the first move up, then we have the digestion, and then we are continuing higher here, in my opinion. So yeah, gold overall looks really good. You can also see here this is against the housing market. Same thing again here, 80, 12, and then we have some small stuff going on here with that squeeze here. We tagged it for the third time, reversed, kind of standard there, and then you have this tiny squeeze coming in here. In my opinion, we're probably going to do something like that, depending on the speed, right? The timing can be difficult, but we have 1, 2, 3, we break on the fourth. Then we come in for the big overall trend line over here. You can see 1, 2, 3. And yes, I think we also will get rejected there, and then we will go higher again. So yeah, definitely we are squeezing up here in this ratio, but I think overall it's a more bullish outlook in favor of gold compared to the housing market. Here we have a very weird chart with the gold divided by the Bank of America. I want to focus on the past 15 years with these highs here, this giant, can you call it a bull flag? Maybe, maybe not. Very thin pole here, and then we have the bullish channel, bull flag, whatever. But clearly the lows and the highs defines it. Then we have the splitter here in the middle. Again, I think when we get above here, then we will see a move to the upper end of that bull flag, where we will definitely see resistance. But overall, excuse me, it's a we have gone sideways to down for 15 years, and I do think that we are going to win the battle here, basically, and get into the upper 200s here. Excuse me, mid 200s here. We are now at 50, so a lot of potential there. But we haven't made any higher highs yet here, and still lower lows here on the monthly, you can see. But hopefully we can have that, higher low, and then we have the higher high here somewhere. So a bit of a neutral, but still long-term with favor again, in favor of the banking sector. But I think that's about to change. Last but not least, here we have gold divided by overall US debt. And this is a truly amazing chart, in my opinion. Here we have broken a 50-year downtrend where gold is outperforming the debt. I mean, that has huge repercussions, in my opinion. Also, I think the debt right now is 34.7 trillion. Again, I think the US are adding, is it 1 trillion every 100 days? Or am I wrong here? I think it's 1 trillion every 100 days or 90 days or whatever. So the number here, this number, which is the US debt, is going up insanely, right? Massively. But then the other side of the equation, or in this case, the ratio, gold, is going up more based on that breakout there. I mean, in my opinion, maybe I'm just, looking at it incorrectly, but I'm hugely bullish gold instead of the US debt. And also, I think this implicates that US debt is being outperformed by gold. Therefore, also, I think gold is going to outperform the bond market big time. The US bond market, every bond market basis, basically. So yeah, very short, very brief update here, but I think gold is definitely still looking incredible. Finally, you can actually see here we have this kind of like a double if you want to add it to there. So we're getting close to the next one. But still, I think gold long-term here has broken out. It is in the driving seat. Yeah, I don't have nothing more to add really. I think gold is fantastic. I think the miners is at a opportunity here where you can make a lot of money. Again, it comes with tons of volatility, where you can easily have, over 3 weeks, you have one miner, at least we had one miner going up. I think it was over a few months actually, 500%. And then in like 1 week or 10 days, it got cut in half, but still up 250%. But the volatility, you need to be able to, if you love the volatility to the upside, you need to embrace it to the downside as well. You need to know that it is coming every single time, just like in crypto, just like in the Nasdaq. It works both ways. But the miners here, I think gold climbing higher into 3K, 4K, 5K higher over the years. The miners should do very, very well. That's my take anyways. Have a great day, guys. As always, it's been a pleasure. Follow me, Twitter, YouTube, and Substack if you want more details. Have a great evening, guys. Bye.